Om Sarvopanishado Gavo Dugdha Gopalanandana Partho Vatsa Sudhir Bhokta Dugdham Geetāmritam Mahat. The Vedas are the foundation of Sanatana Dharma, known today as Hinduism. The Vedas are the most ancient scriptures, revealed holy books of the East, and these Vedas are at once the source of all the spiritual guidance that is available in countless other scriptures that came to be studied, taught, and practiced on the Indian soil originally. By other scriptures we mean Puranas, Itihasas, Smritis, and so on. Vedas called Shruti are the basis for all other Shastras. In this session, we are going to talk about how Bhagavad Gita is in fact a restatement of the Upanishads, which are, let us never forget, part of Vedas. Therefore, they are called the Vedanta. One of the dhyana shlokas of the Upanishads, of the Bhagavad Gita, which I chanted at the beginning, Geetā dhyana shloka, puts it this way: Sarvopanishado gavaha. All the Upanishads are like cows. Dugdham Geetāmritam Mahat. And Geetā, which is the nectar, is the milk that is taken out from these cows of the Upanishads. Upanishads are the source, once more, not only for the transcendental wisdom of that vision of oneness of the entire universe, God, individual soul, and so on, they are also at the same time the source of number of other principles, concepts, human values, and so on. So in this presentation, we shall take a look at some of the areas in which Bhagavad Gita says something, and we find that it is an echo of what the Upanishads had stated before. Much credit, therefore, goes to Lord Shri Krishna, who, in his fascinating avatar, that is, incarnation as the son of Devaki and Vasudeva, standing before Arjuna on the battlefield of Kurukshetra, delivers this very, very extraordinary discourse, and it is a song, and it is an inspired song, and that is an excellent version or collection or a very nice compilation of prominent ideas and teachings of the Upanishads. Much credit goes to Sri Krishna because the language of Bhagavad Gita is far simpler than that of the Upanishads. So at the time of Mahabharata, for Arjuna and through him to a whole lot of people at that time, Bhagavad Gita became such an excellent handbook of steering through their lives. Though many centuries Perhaps a few thousands of years have passed since then. Even today, for us, Bhagavad Gita is so easy to handle. We can relate to Bhagavad Gita far more easily than to Upanishads. In no way this undermines the importance of the Upanishads. However, for beginners, Bhagavad Gita is much more helpful, and advanced students also continue to study the Gita, for they never stop admiring, they never stop appreciating how Sri Krishna could take the gist of Upanishads and express in such apt ways in the Bhagavad Gita. Now, the Upanishads teach both nivritti and pravritti. Nivritti is the higher level of spiritual practice where a mature person withdraws from activities and is engaged more and more, if not 100%, in contemplation upon the spiritual truths given by the sacred texts. The contemplative life, a life given to study and reflection upon it. Swamis and sannyasis should actually be engaged in extensive study and in meditation. It is their purva vasanas sometimes that drag them to various other projects where they may build a temple or construct something, run a hospital or run a school, and go to various platforms, including corporate platforms or Rotary clubs, etc. They may go, and to an extent, it is a little deviation from pure nivritti. The true fragrance of nivritti is Brahma Chintana. Nivritti is anchored in Brahma Chintana, contemplation upon that liberating truth, on that Brahman, knowing which one is completely free. Brahma is above and Dharma is below. Dharma itself is a source of so much of well-being, great inner strength, and tremendous inner peace. Dharma takes us very high, and Brahma sets us completely free. So do not misunderstand my making a reference to corporate platforms or Rotary clubs, etc. It's nothing wrong or nothing negative or nothing very low. In fact, in those scenarios, the engagement is generally with Dharma, not with Brahma. Whereas the advanced engagement called nivritti is with Brahma, the undivided reality which is outside and inside, which we call transcendental. Upanishads supply to us enough food for thought on the higher level of Brahma, and those of us who can engage with that will be primarily in nivritti. Now, those who, because of various compulsions and maybe by will of God, are engaging in the lower level dharma, please note, are not doing anything wrong. They are also earning a lot of merit, a lot of punya, for dharma is the sphere of human values. Satyam vada, dharmam chara are excellent. If one could practice those values, one's new life is made so noble. Bhagavad Gita also, therefore, reflects both nivritti and pravritti in its teachings. Acharya Shankara, while introducing Bhagavad Gita, says the entire Vedic wisdom guides humanity in pravritti, outgoing activity, of course, selfless, and nivritti, the inward journey. Nishkama karma is where the spiritual works guide us. What about sakama karma? Activities where we have some selfish motive? That anyhow is in us, and the Vedas actually help us to rise above this selfish activity and stabilize ourselves in selfless activities. And then going further, we can go to contemplative life. So, on the two levels of nivritti and pravritti, let's see some parallels between the Bhagavad Gita and the Upanishads. Right away in the second chapter, Lord Krishna begins his instruction to Arjuna, saying, neither Arjuna nor Sri Krishna himself can ever perish, nor can either Pandavas or Kauravas. No one dies here. So he right away goes to the mention of the indestructible Atma. In one of the shlokas, he has a punchline, na hanyate hanyamāne shareere. Chapter 2, Bhagavad Gita. Hanyamāne shareere. Even as the body is getting destroyed, the body of course perishes. Na hanyate. Your true nature, what you truly are, does not die. Interestingly, this punchline, na hanyate hanyamāne shareere, the soul doesn't die while the body dies, is found exactly the same way in Katha Upanishad. Katha Upanishad also talks about the highest truth which Nachiketa wanted to know as being free of birth, devoid of death, free of any changes whatsoever. As we study the Gita and as we study the Upanishads, we discover so many places where the Bhagavad Gita is saying what the Upanishads had said, sometimes in a slightly different structure of words. There is a famous mantra in the Mundaka Upanishad, na tatra suryo bhati, na chandra tarakam. The effulgence of the supreme truth, Brahman, is such that the sun, the moon, the stars, the fire, the lightning, etc. don't count. They are negligible. They are incapable of lighting Brahman. On the contrary, makes them shine. Brahman is behind their ability to shine forth. Na tatra suryo bhati, na chandra tarakam. Famous mantra. Bhagavad Gita echoes this in chapter 15. Na tad bhasayate suryaha. There is a shloka. The sun cannot illumine this supreme truth. Yad gatva na nivartante tad dhama paramam mama. Arjuna, that is my supreme abode, which you may reach, and reaching which you will not return. That is the pointer to liberation. Return is not physical return. First of all, reaching there is not physical journey. It is a leap of consciousness. Consciousness, which is as almost a contradiction in terms identified with the body, sets itself free. Consciousness knows itself as unbounded, unbound, unlimited. The Upanishads give to us self-knowledge. The Upanishads, for example, even in that line, na hanyate hanyamāne shareere. You have in the same mantra a sentence. Whoever considers this the killer, or whoever considers this as something that is killed, hantaram or hatam, they do not know. There is a mantra which says like that, and that is echoed in Geetā too. The philosophical significance of this expression, it neither kills nor is killed, is that it is never the subject and never the object. In grammar, we have these two simple divisions. If somebody eats a mango, that person is the subject, the mango is the object. So mango is acted upon and the man acts. Now philosophically, to act makes us a doer. We are karta. And to be acted upon makes us the object, and that is when we enjoy or suffer. Somebody praises us, we are the object of somebody's praise, we enjoy. Somebody insults us, we are the object of someone's insult, then we suffer. So that is called bhoktritva. We are at the receiving end. To enjoy or to suffer are both expressions of bhoktritva. The philosophical significance of both Gita and the Upanishads saying one is neither the killer nor the killed is that we are never the karta nor the bhokta in our true nature. This egoistic existence is an error in perception. The very sense of I am this or I am that is part of that error. Therefore, understanding the nature of the basic error called adhyasa is pivotal to understanding Upanishads. So this fact of our being neither the doer nor the enjoyer is reflected very well in the 5th chapter of Bhagavad Gita, where Lord Krishna, this is an example where Lord Krishna makes it so easy, the language is much more explicit. Shri Krishna says, Naiva kinchit karomi iti yukto manyeta tattvavit. A wise man knows he is not doing anything at all. Even as on the upadhi level, on the plane of the body or the mind, there are a lot of action going on. But his consciousness is liberated. He knows, I am not doing anything at all. While seeing, while hearing, while touching, while going, while coming, while sleeping, while opening the eyes, while closing the eyes, and so on and so forth. Naiva kinchit karomi. I don't do anything at all. Then who is doing all this? Indriyani indriyartheshu vartante iti dharayan. These are two shlokas from the 5th chapter. Likewise, we have Ishavasya Upanishad saying the wise man sees all in his own self and he sees his own self in all. Yastu sarvani bhutani atmanyevanu pashyati sarvabhuteshu cha atmanam tato na vijugupsate. Now, in the 6th chapter of Bhagavad Gita, Sri Krishna rewords it. Sarvabhuteshu cha atmanam sarvabhutani cha atmani sampashyan brahma paramam, and so on. You find such similarity of the flavor, of the message, of the content of the Gita shlokas as compared with Upanishad mantras. People know Bhagavad Gita to be also advising us for bhakti. Some of you may wonder, do Upanishads talk about bhakti at all? We say they do, maybe not in so much detail as Bhagavad Gita does. Sri Krishna would go into a lot of specifics. Even if you offer me a leaf, a fruit, a flower, or even a spoonful of water, if you do so with love, I accept it all and bless you. Patram pushpam phalam toyam yo me bhaktya prayachati tadaham bhaktyupahartam ashnami prayatatmanaha. Such picturesque details of bhakti are hard to find in the Upanishads. Therefore, we wish to say again and again, the Upanishads provide the seeds. The Upanishad provides the very basic idea. Then it can be elaborated. Itihasas and Puranas would even put these ideas into stories, parables, anecdotes, illustrations, and so on. So we have in the Gita certain elaboration of the Bhakti Shastra. In the Upanishads, we have, for example, in Katha Upanishad, it is said, whoever intensely desires, intensely longs for the pure self, gets knowledge of the pure self. There is that statement, Yameva Esha Vranute Tena Labhyaha. Or for that matter, in the Shvetashvatara Upanishad, it says, Yasya Deve Para Bhakti Yata Deve Tata Guru. Both towards God and towards one's Guru, if one has great love, great devotion, great longing to understand their vision, their teachings, then such a person gets freed. So we find again and again the Upanishads, Ishakena Katha Mundaka, Aitareya, Prashna or Mandukya, Chandogya or Brahadaranyaka, or Shvetashvatara, Kaivalya, and so on. All these go hand in hand with Bhagavad Gita. Even there are other issues. Take, for example, reincarnation. Shri Krishna would say in the Gita, only if you attain me, if you reach me, you are free from rebirth. Otherwise, from the topmost Brahma Loka down to this earth and even the nether worlds, all the worlds are marked by coming again, going again. Punarapi Jananam, Punarapi Maranam. That is the language of Bhajagovindam. But in the Gita, it is said, A Brahma Bhuvana Lokaha Punaravartino Arjuna. In all these worlds, nobody stays forever. We go to a world, earth or heaven or hell, we go for a certain number of years, we stay there, then come back, then again go, depending on the karma. And Sri Krishna says, Mamupetya tu kaunteya punarjanma na vidyate. When you reach me, then reincarnation comes to an end. In a manner of saying, this Hindu concept of unless you realize the Lord, you will endlessly go birth, death, and death is reflected in a rather gross form in the expression eternal damnation in Christianity. Unless Jesus saves you, you are endlessly in hell. Something of that kind is said. To me, that so-called eternal damnation perhaps is a rather harsh expression for endless cycle of birth and death. Iha sansare bahudustare kripaya apare pahi murare, as Bhajagovindam puts it. Now, have Upanishads talked about reincarnation? Of course they have. In the Katha Upanishad, for example, referring to a soul which is not illumined yet, Sri Yama, the teacher, says, Yoni manye prapadyante shareeratvaya dehinaha sthanu manye anusanyanti yatha karma yatha shrutam. As per their past karma, as per their past spiritual education, they either go into sometimes new births which are marked by no motion, like a tree, or in human life itself being very dull, not vibrant, or yoni manni. Sthanu is that dull life. Yoni is where, as most of us human beings are, we are full of discrimination. We know how to choose. We have quite a bit of intelligence manifest in us. So intelligent reincarnation is yoni manye prapadyante. Unintelligent, dull forms of new birth are implied by sthanu manye anusanyanti. As we said before, countless values also are expressed in the Upanishads. Now, some places the values themselves are mentioned. Shanto dantaha uparatas titikshuhu samahitaha shraddhavitto bhutva is an expression in Brihadaranyaka which led to the values like shama, dama, uparama, titiksha, shraddha, samadhana, calmness of mind, control of senses, withdrawal from things that are none of our business, uparama. Titiksha, putting up with hardships. Shraddha, faith in the revelations of the great holy books. And samadhana, ability to concentrate. Mumukshutva, viveka, vairagya, they are all talked about. But what is interesting, Upanishads in a sense go for some elaboration which Gita doesn't do. Interestingly, in Bhagavad Gita, there is no story at all. Bhagavad Gita is part of the story of Mahabharata, but in the body of Bhagavad Gita, there is no story of Yajnavalkya or Maitreyi. There is no story of Gargi or, let us say, Satyakama Jabali. There is no mention of the Drupta Balaki. There's a story of an arrogant Brahmin who thinks he will teach a Kshatriya but ends up learning from the Kshatriya when he discovers that the Kshatriya knows better. So Ajata Shatru and Balaki, there's a story in Brihadaranyaka. So in countless ways, the values are taught. Thus, straightforwardness. Gita mentions arjavam, straightforwardness, without covering up truth. Arjavam, amanitvam, adambitvam, ahimsa, kshantihi, arjavam. You have 13th chapter of Gita. That straightforwardness is a value that is explicit in the story of Satyakama Jabali. When his guru asks him, what is your gotra, to find out whether he is from a Brahmana family, he says, my mother tells me she doesn't know who my father was. All I can say is, I am the son of a lady called Jabala. I don't know my gotra. That straightforwardness impresses the teacher, and Haridrumata was so impressed. He says, it doesn't matter what background yours is. You are welcome, you are admitted. Bring your samit, that's a formality, and join the classes. I take you in. So this illustration through a story gets expressed in the Gita as arjavam. Therefore, numerous other values too. As you know, in the 17th chapter, you have Shraddhatraya Vibhaga Yoga. Gita elaborates what is sattvic food, what is rajasic food, what is tamasic food that we may eat. Chandogya Upanishad has, like in an aphoristic manner, Ahara shuddhau sattva shuddhi. If you and I take care about food, sattvic food in moderate quantity, then our mind is bound to be pure. Swami Chinmayananji used to say it works both ways. Those who are sattvic would go for sattvic food. To an extent that is true, to an extent the other way is true. Those who eat sattvic food become sattvic. So what food we choose reflects what temperament we have, and what food we eat shapes the temperament, shapes the mindset of ours eventually. So both ways. So ahara shuddha sattva shuddhi of Chandogya gets reflected in the number of shlokas that describe sattvic, rajasic and tamasic food in Bhagavad Gita. I must here add that the Gita has been interpreted by great acharyas, Shankara, Ramanuja and Madhva, in different ways. Now, we are no judge to decide who is right. All the three darshana, they are called darshanas, all the three great, grand and meticulously outlined visions of non-duality, qualified non-duality and duality have ample support in the Bhagavad Gita. There are shlokas which support Advaita. There are shlokas which support Vishishtadvaita. There are shlokas which support Dvaita. Now, what about Upanishads? And interestingly, supporting, let's say these are three groups, A, B and C. A hinting at Advaita, B hinting at Vishishtadvaita, C hinting at Dvaita. We have in Upanishads too mantras that are hinting at Advaita, mantras that are hinting at Vishishtadvaita, and mantras that hint at Dvaita. That is the interesting part. The same Upanishads, the same Bhagavad Gita, and the same Brahma Sutras, these are called Prasthanatraya. This Prasthanatraya is used by the three acharyas and many more to give further variations to bring out their powerful, very convincing schools of thought. Those who study one of these three schools get so convinced by that particular school, they begin to think the other two schools are hollow, erroneous, wrong, misconceived, etc., etc., because they have not studied the other two systems. Just as somebody speaking a certain language in our country, India, having some 25 or more languages, diving deep into the rich literature of his language, begins to think, my language is so wonderful. I don't think any other language under the sun is so nice. Let him go study. It is our ignorance that we imagine other languages to be poor. Bengali or Punjabi, Kannada or Gujarati, Tamil or Hindi, all of them have simply unimaginable amount of rich literature. But if one knows one language and its literature, and add to it, has heard only some cinema songs or some kind of, not all that good songs or writings of some other language, and then concludes that the other languages have only that, then one is mistaken. Let's move back from analogy to the three darshanas. Dvaita, Advaita and Vishishtadvaita are all supported. Sometimes the Upanishad mantra says something, and grammatically that mantra can be taken in two ways. In Chandogya Upanishad, you have a sentence, or two sentences I should say. Sa Atma tattvamasi shvetaketo. Now grammar permits you to take sa atma tattvamasi. That is Advaita. But you could also take, going by grammar, sa atma atattvam asi. A can go silent according to Sandhi rules. So Sriman Madhvacharya says, sa atma atattvam asi is the correct version. Sri Shankara takes it as sa atma tattvam asi. So either way, the Upanishads have supported. Now, what the original mantra was, we must go to the source of the Upanishads, that is God Himself. Therefore, we say sometimes, God knows. I don't know. But the beauty of it is, without making it long on this score, you take any of these three, Dvaita, Vishishtadvaita, or Advaita, you can rise to unimaginable heights of inner purification, inner development, inner fulfillment, unimaginable amount of well-being, holistic well-being is yours. Go by any of these three. If you waste your energy fighting with other schools and trying to find fault with the other schools, then alas, you lag behind. In modern times, especially in the new millennium, especially in this 21st century, especially, it is highly required that all of us respect different schools of thought, different religions, and going by certain global ethics and universal values, we live what appeals to us and rise to greater heights. So, Bhagavad Gita is the source of a whole lot of philosophical thought, a whole lot of human values, whole lot of guidance on relationships, a whole lot of pointers to the transcendental truth and everything, and you find all of them having their seeds, the original sources in the literature or the body of mantra vidya known as Upanishads. Let me pause here and I will be happy to take a few questions if you have any. Om Namo Narayanaya. Om Namah Shivaya. Let's see. So, we have a question from Ranjan Desai. Yes, Ranjan.
Namaskar, can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Okay. Currently, I'm right now in Dallas in my aunt's house. Srinathji and my auntie are also listening to you.
Oh, how nice.
Yes. So, I have a question actually. So the reason I'm asking is because I have, the three school of thoughts that you said. Isn't it true that a person who knows that all the three school of thoughts are one and the same reaches God?
Same God said things. Yeah, source of all these three is same God.
Yeah. So
it is like, how a father left 3 letters behind, and the sons are unable to find out which letter is the highest in terms of importance or validity.
right. So
Or like I explained in Atma Tattvamasi, there is a single sentence, but 2 interpretations are possible.
yeah, but isn't the interpretations itself I'm talking about the three school of thoughts? If
Yes.
all three of school of thoughts point to the same thing, right? God is supreme and
that is another point. There is a lot of common part in the three darshanas.
right.
But then, in the matter of, see, the difference comes here. In the matter of relation of you and me with God, they
Right.
differ.
Oh, got it. Okay. Okay.
It is something like an electron has mass, and about electron, today's physics says some say it is a particle, some say it is a wave. A particle has mass, a wave has no mass. Particle has location, a wave has no location. It is spread.
Right.
So today's physics, I won't go long on it. It says an electron is from some angle of view a particle, and from some other angle of view it's a wave. So you ask, how can it be both? So we say in the coming back to darshanas, Madhvacharya says God and man are apart; they can never be one. And Shankara says God and man are one truth appearing in two ways. This is at the highest level.
Correct.
We don't say that in day-to-day transaction. For example, a student of Shankara doesn't go to a Krishna temple or Shiva temple and say, Lord, I have come and you and I are one. Nonsense, not at all.
That's true.
Even a staunch devotee of Adi Shankara, a regular student of Advaita Vedanta, enters a Krishna temple or a Shiva temple, Hanuman temple, falls prostrate there and says, Lord, give me viveka, give me vairagya. Therefore, like you also mentioned, a lot of stuff is the same.
Right.
But ultimately, is God and man one truth expressing in two ways? Madhvacharya says an emphatic no. Therefore, Dvaita, God and man are different. Shankaracharya says it is one. So there is this difficulty.
Okay. It was really good. We enjoyed it. We saw a little bit more, but I'm going to listen to the recording later on again, one more time. It was very nice talking to you again. Thank you.
Thank you. So then we see whether Naveen Rao has a question. Yes, Naveen.
Swamiji, from what I understand, Bhagavad Gita is trying to bring Upanishads into our day-to-day life, where the question, the focus is on dharma here, and then how to act, and your kama, artha, kama, and then in a dharmic way.
Correct.
Whereas Upanishad is more about liberation, moksha. And,
the ratio
the emphasis on moksha in Upanishads, and
Correct.
here the emphasis on dharma. Can we say like that?
Shall I take the liberty of saying 70-30?
Okay.
Upanishads are 70% into moksha, 30% into dharma. Geetā is 70% into dharma, 30% into moksha. Yeah.
Okay.
So that way, Geetā embraces quite a bit of Veda Purvas, non-Upanishadic portions of the Vedas. Yeah, its range is more.
The Gitas.
Correct. Gita's range is more because Gita wants to address the common man also. The Upanishads are, because 70% is Moksha Shastra, they are meant for sadhus, sannyasis, and even householders who are virakta. See, sometimes a householder with 3 children and bank balance and everything, because of examining life, might come to a point where he is very mature, very inwardly detached. Sometimes a sannyasi and a grahastha are both served some delicious food. I have seen it with my own eyes. Sannyasi is very eager, he eats everything. Grahastha is not interested. You find such cases too. Because the inner change and the inner, the vasana rearrangement varies from person to person. So for virakta, let us avoid words sannyasi and grahastha. For those who are viraktas, who are pretty much detached, Upanishads are the main text.
Okay. And this is where this nivritti is more for Geetā, we can say.
No, nivritti.
Sorry, other way around.
Other way
Pravritti is for Geetā.
Correct.
And then also another difference I see, Swamiji, is that in Upanishads it's more, when they say karma, it's more ritual focused, and here it's about duty and all that Krishna teaches in Bhagavad Gita.
Well said. Geetā hardly talks of any Vedic karma. There are some shlokas which mention, but very little. In 4th chapter, we have a shloka, Daivame Vapare Yajnam. There is a shloka. There the mention is of ritualistic yajna. But otherwise, we say, right, Sri Krishna revolutionized the wisdom of the Vedas by emphasizing on karma yoga, which is do your duty without selfish mode.
Okay, thank you so much.
Right. Oh, welcome. Let's see if there is any other hand raised. There is one text question. I will come to it. Okay, now let me go to this text question. Hari Om Swamiji, can you please explain Vishishta Advaita? Yeah, Vishishta Advaita, you see, it is Advaita. God and man are one. But Vishishta, that means qualified monism. So that is Ramanujacharya's outlook. He says God and man are not absolutely one. God is like the whole and man is like the part. God is like the body, angi, and man is like a part of the body, like hand or leg, etc. So that is anga. Anga is part, angi is the whole. So Vishishtadvaita is a partial acceptance of that intimate relation between God and man. They are one, but not in the absolute sense. Shankara's is absolute monism. Ramanuja's is qualified monism. Like Pandavas are one; they are united. But Yudhishthira is older. In a context or in a scenario of some difference of opinion, Arjuna and Bhima, whatever it is, they bow down before Yudhishthira. If Yudhishthira says, this is what we are going to do, they bow down. Though they are one, Yudhishthira has an upper hand. Like that, though God and man are one whole, God has the upper hand. And therefore, Ramanuja's philosophy is Sri Vaishnava philosophy, Darshana. So it is Vishnu oriented. Likewise, you have Kashmir Shaivism, which is very close to Advaita. Probably it is very close to Shankara's Advaita. And there they would say, we worship Shiva, but ultimately we are one with Shiva. So there is a slight Vishesha. Vishesha means put a qualification, put a little description. You may have heard in English language, there are two kinds of apologies. Suppose you hurt somebody and next day you apologize. There are two kinds of apologies. Both ways, both contexts you are apologizing. But one of them is unqualified apologies. That means you say, I am sorry, period. The other one is qualified apology. Qualified apology means you say, I am sorry, but if you had said the same thing in a little different way, I would not have been angry yesterday. So that extra sentence He is called qualifying. Unqualified apologies is you simply say sorry and no other word. Shankara's Advaita is absolute one. God and man are one. It's only ignorance that makes you think you are two separate things. Ramanuja says, hold on, hold on. God and man are one, but you know, God is God, man is man. Like ocean is so vast, a wave is a tiny one. But the wave is never separate from the ocean. So in some such ways, in fact, I have not studied Srimad Ramanuja in detail. I believe it's a very fascinating view. Many Advaitins, after studying Sri Ramanuja, have been very impressed by this Vishishta Advaita. So Vishishta Advaita is, to sum up once more, admitting oneness between God and man with a certain further words to say that it's not absolute, it's a part and whole. Let's see if there is any other person waiting to ask, or as a looks like there is no. One comment I may make, because these issues came, Madhvacharya's Dvaita goes very well, it's very similar to Christianity, to Islam, and I already said all these are excellent darshanas. If somebody can, a true Christian, a true Muslim, without all those other things, really loves God, Father in heaven or Allah, and respects his neighbors, no matter what the religion they follow, then they go to very great heights of inner evolution. So in today's world, we have Dvaita appearing in so many religions. I guess Judaism also is Dvaita, and Sikhism is by and large Dvaita. Though in Christianity and in Islam and in Sikhism and in Judaism, I'm sure there are some mystics who have spoken, who have written maybe poetry or who have uttered things with a flavor of Advaita. But as we broadly know, the great religions of the world are highly Dvaitic, like Madhvacharya. What about Buddhism? In Buddhism, on one hand, it is so similar to Advaita Vedanta, but Buddhism has no mention of God at all. So if you ask a Buddhist, do you think you are one with God? He may ask you, what God, which God, where God? So that is, Buddhism and Jainism have no God in their whole scheme of things. But I would say there also, if somebody is a very sincere Buddhist, that person will be loving, compassionate, kind, understanding, and a great asset to wherever she is, wherever he is. Okay, looks like we are. Yeah. So, all right, we'll meet again another time. Hari Om, Hari Om.
Pranam Swamiji.